All right, so hopefully you can take this opportunity to check through your answers on there. So in 2-1, we really focused on rewriting equations from words to formulas and formulas to words. Today. All right, and then the second part of what we worked on was taking the equation form and writing it in words. One of the big things I want you to take note of is a lot of times we write our numbers out in word form. Now, for the sake of space, they use the numbers here. If we asked you on a quiz, we would probably write out the word 9 as an N-I-N-E or 7 as S-E-V-E-N. So you'll see the numbers as actual numbers as opposed to, or as words as opposed to the numbers. 12 and 13, you could have been as creative as you wanted. Sample answers would look like the cost of 2 adult tickets and 4 children's tickets to the zoo is $38. How much is an adult ticket? So you're trying to ask questions about the variable that you are given. So here, if it's talking about the regular cost of 1 airline ticket, I am probably asking a question like, what's the cost of a ticket? Yes. What? Okay. Once we're teaching, that's not the right time to say those things, okay, honey? 14, 15, these are word problems that, again, you had to take the time to read through and give me an equation. So you were supposed to take the time reading through and give me that as an equation. In 15, you had T equals P plus quantity P plus 7. So you should combine those like terms. You get 2P plus 7. And then it said, what if they walked 9 miles? So if you walked 9, 9 plus 7 is 16. And then 16 plus 9 gives 29 in all. Any questions on the 2-1 worksheet? Now I know your spacing and our spacing is a little different. Any questions at all? Because we are going to move on to a new lesson today if you got this. Okay? Alright, so as I previously mentioned, we are moving on in Chapter 2. We are now looking at Section 2.2, which is solving. So in Chapter 1, a lot of what we did was simplify. So we did substitution, we looked at graphing, we talked about linear versus nonlinear. In the beginning of Chapter 2, we just talked about writing equations. Now what we're going to do is take those written equations and solve them. So for today and tomorrow, our solving is going to focus primarily on adding and subtracting. So our solving for today and tomorrow is going to focus primarily on adding and subtracting. So we have a little bit of new vocab. So one of our vocab words is variable. We've been using the word variable with you since probably September. A variable is anything that represents or satisfies a number in an equation. Often the most common used variables are a or x. Logan, make sure you're filling in your vocab. So again, we're using the word variable. to represent a number that satisfies an equation. Then what we're going to do is solve an equation. So we're going to solve an equation, and in order to do that, it means we're going to find a variable that makes something true. So in order to solve, you're going to find a variable that makes something true. We do this in mathematics by isolating the variable on one side of the equation. So we do this in math by isolating a variable to one side of an equation. Equivalent equations mean they have the same solution. Equivalent equations mean they have the same solution. And a linear equation is an equation that has no variables with an exponent other than 1. A linear equation is an equation that has no variables with an exponent other than 1. So again, going back to talking about the linear versus nonlinear. Linear are straight lines, meaning no curves. If you think back, we talked about the property of equality. The property of equality says that if an equation is true and the same number is added to each side of the equation, the resulting equivalent equation is also true. Well, what that means is that if A, B, and C are real numbers, and A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C. Is everybody good for that, or are we still copying some stuff down? Alrighty. So what we're going to do is solve by adding. So we can solve this equation by adding to both sides. So I have C minus 22 equals 54. So I'm going to isolate C by adding 22 to the other side. So you used to do these problems where you added everything horizontally. We're going to now focus on, oh, that's hard to see. We're going to focus on adding them vertically. So that leaves you with C equals, and then you're going to add, 22 to both sides. Writing with my mouse is not exactly the smartest. So we have 54 plus 22, so that gives you 76. How do you check? Well, you check by taking that 76 and replacing it with C. And then simplifying and combining like terms to see if the left side equals the right side. So 76 minus 22 is in fact 54. So 54 equals 54. Therefore, this checks out. Okay? So we have 113 equals G minus 25. How do I isolate my variable? What am I going to move, Colton?
Add 25 to this side.
Perfect. We're going to add 25 to both sides. Okay, who wants to tell me what is 113 plus 25? Good? Perfect. So we get G equals 138. How do we check? Well, we check by plugging back in. Is 138 minus 25 113? See, Madison gave me a head nod. Yeah. So we're good. It checks. We move on. Okay, J minus 87 equals negative 3. How do I solve for J? Landon? Excellent. And what is negative 3 plus 87, Madison? Awesome. And by checking, where does that 84 go into my check, Nick? Good. So I have to subtract 87 from that 84. And small minus big becomes negative. How many of you like this lesson? Me too. I like getting solutions. All right, we have 63 plus m equals 79. Now, what do I do to isolate m? Dominique? Perfect. So this time I'm subtracting the 63. Okay, and who wants to tell me what 79 minus 63 is? I haven't heard from some of you yet. Abby, what do you get? Excellent.
Yes? Yeah, sure.
So we're going to take 63 and we're going to add 16 to it to check. 63 plus 16 is like 60 plus 10, which is 70, and 3 plus 9, or 3 plus 6, which is 9. So it checks. Okay, 27 plus k equals 30. Luke, what do you think I do for this problem? Yes. I'm going to subtract 27 from 30. Okay, and what is 30 minus 27? Nevaeh, you got a calculator. What do you think? Okay, and then to check it, what do I do to check it? Where's that 3 going to go? It's going to go to add to 30. Is it going to go in for the variable? Where's the 3 go? Nevaeh? Yeah. And do we agree 27 plus 3 is 30? Yeah. All right, I have negative 12 equals p plus 16. What am I gonna do, Landon? I am going to subtract 16 from both sides. Excellent. All right, so this might be the trickiest math we've had yet. Negative 12 minus 16. Abby, raise your hand with confidence. What do you think? It's actually going to be bigger than that. So since 12 and 16 are both negative, yeah, Madison, what do you think? Yeah. But here's the cool thing. This is why we check. So Abby, if you had got that negative, if you had got negative 4, when you plugged it in, 16 minus 4 would have been positive 12, not negative 12. So you'd have realized, oh, I added wrong, and you could have fixed it. So that's why we do the check step, guys. It's not because I want to make you write out more math. It's to make sure that answer we get happened from good math. And we all add wrong. I think I added wrong today at one point already. Yeah. All right. So that ends your lesson for today. You're going to do that very next page in the packet, which is 2-2, homework day 1.